I keep forgetting we don't have an intro on this one, so yes, microphone is on. Welcome everybody to the Average Intelligence
Hello.
Podcast. I'm waiting for YouTube to notify me that we're live.
It's live. Hello, everybody.
There it is. Welcome everyone, like I said, to the Average Intelligence Podcast. This podcast is brought to you tonight by our friends at Vizard.ai and Pogo. We'll touch on them a bit, but tonight we're calling out the hypocrisy, which is running rampant. It's a little embarrassing to be frank. Uh,
It
I'm
is.
not I'm not frank, but if I were, it'd be real embarrassing.
Does my camera seem dark?
No, no more than usual. Your
Usual.
camera's not dark. It might
Okay,
just be that you're wearing a really dark hoodie and the like it
that's
looks
true.
like there's a shadow casting. I don't know. And also, I apologize in advance, but there might be a knock at the door and I'll have to go away for a moment.
Are
I have
you
to
ordering delivery?
No, I have to get my rent check. So, my tenant and I now have an arrangement where we meet each other because they used to just drop for years. They would drop the rent check just in my mailbox and it was fine. And then somebody took one. Yeah, so now I'm like, oh, I texted them immediately and it was like, stop payment on that check right now, even though they can't do anything with it, but just to be
But
safe.
still,
And now we're
yeah.
like, yeah, I'll just meet you on the porch when both of us are home. So no big deal, but if there's a knock, that's where I'm going. But yeah, so I'll be honest, I've kind of tuned out somewhat on the news. Basically, my news consumption lately has been somebody telling me something happened, and then I Google it to make sure if it's bullshit or not, and it's usually bullshit. But
All the time.
it
It's
it really
ridiculous.
it really is. And we had a private conversation because I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't say I was freaking out, but I was very concerned about things that were happening with immigration. And you fucking said, dude, you were like, they're blowing it out of proportion. It's not nearly as bad as it sounds. And then, sure enough, Trump does something else. And I'm not going to say immigration has disappeared from the news, but comparatively, it kind of has.
The media is doing what it's always done, blowing it out of proportion.
Now, I don't want people to think that I've changed my tune. There are some things they're doing that I don't like, but it's
That's
being way overblown. It's being way overblown.
that's every administration, and honestly, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like if you're agreeing
Well,
with every single thing they're doing, like that's kind of scary.
then you're in a cult. But
Yeah.
I would like to point out a few things that I've seen just in the past few weeks. And I just want to so this is the time in politics where I'm often called the most terrible things. I think the most tame one I've been called lately is a fence sitter. And it's like, no, actually, go back. There's quite a bit of video evidence to suggest that my views really haven't changed all that much. It's just that I often find myself defending the other side. So the side that's in power, I often find myself defending the other side because the one that's in power has the bulk in the narrative. Like, but for example, and here, this is verifiably true. You can look on this channel, and I'm talking about this in 2023. All right. So this whole 14th Amendment thing. I was talking about that when Vivek brought it up in the first Republican primary debate, and my reasoning is the same. Now, what I find very disconcerting is the number of people on the right, both talking heads and just people out in the street, who have now come around to what I can only imagine. I first heard it from Vivek. Vivek's way of thinking and complete disregard for the English language. It's very concerning for me because apparently now definitions of the word jurisdiction are now flexible, and that's not how definitions work. But a court stopped that, which is not to ramble or belabor a point, but during the first Trump administration, I was constantly saying it's like, well, yeah, he's trying a bunch of stuff, but so does every president. And the institutions keep them from exceeding because the main point I wanted to make with the 14th Amendment thing is here's the thing. Even if I agreed with it, Trump still can't do it because the president cannot amend the Constitution, nor can he interpret the Constitution. So even if I thought he was right, like correct, he still doesn't have he doesn't have the authority to do it. Like, so I have problems on multiple levels, but everybody who's saying that Trump was right, it's like, okay, but that's honestly irrelevant when it comes to the law, because even if he had sound logic, which I'll argue this point, so I'm blue in the face, he doesn't. But even if he did, he doesn't have the authority to do it. Like, this goes back to Biden. For everybody who agreed with his trying to forgive student loans, whether you agree or disagree, the fact of the matter is he didn't have the constitutional authority to do it. So even if you
He,
wanted
he
it,
he made a tweet not too long, well, X post or whatever the fuck you want to call it. By the way, sponsors, do we need to tailor language?
no.
Okay. Anyway, so he made a tweet saying that, oh, we tried to help people with college loans and whatnot, and then he said something about we did, and I was like, did you? Did they?
Well, in a way,
Did
not
they
to
relieve
be
some?
to be fair, not to the extent that they wanted to. There were some programs like they expanded some of the income driven. They expanded some of the repayment options, and I think they were able to forgive some loans through like public service, but those programs already existed. I think they expanded some. I do not know for sure. I'd have to look that up. But they certainly tried to do a lot more. They did. They tried to do a lot more. But I still okay, politicians steal this. If you want to solve the student debt crisis in a way that's fair and equitable and doesn't screw over the taxpayer that didn't go to
Tell
college,
them they have to pay for it.
well, no, here's what you do. It's two-step
Fixed.
program. Well, no, it's two-step program. First of all, it's not the loans themselves that are really killing people, it's the interest rates. And yes, I know they signed the paper. I signed the paper, which is why. Well, here's the thing though. There's a way you can both sides can win, right? So the first thing you have to do is stop the federal government needs to stop giving out student loans. Point blank.
Oh, they shouldn't even got involved in the first
Well,
place.
I,
Like
I
if they
agree.
wouldn't have gotten
That's
involved and backed the loans, those private companies wouldn't have loaned anybody
hardly
money.
any. Hardly any, yeah. So
So
that's
literally
that's
it's
step
the
one.
government's fault on this one.
It is. And this is why I think the government should do something, and I think this is what they should do. So let's say, for example, that when you were 18, let's say you took out a grand total of $60,000 for college. The number's really irrelevant here. But let's say you have $60,000 of student loan debt with no interest. That's just your principal balance was 60,000, right? With interest rates being what they are, and depending upon your level of subsidized or unsubsidized, you could have as much as, depending on how long you've been out of school, you could have over $100,000 that you owe easily. So here's what you do. Step one, federal government stops doing student loans, period. They just stop. Then what you do is you don't forgive the interest, but you stop charging interest so that people only have to pay off the principal balance. They still have to pay the money back, but the government is now not making money on the interest on those loans. Now, some people are
One
going to
problem with
say,
that,
what's that?
banks aren't going to go for that. The
They're
thing
not
is,
held
like,
by the banks, though.
well, then who is it?
The
Who are the
del-
loans held by?
the
They're
federal
they're
government.
insured by they're insured by the government. Are they held by the
They're
government?
held by the government. If they're not
I
private,
don't know.
I'm not talking about private.
So then
They're
what are you
they're
talking about?
I'm talking about federally
Student
sponsored student
loans,
loans through the Department of Education. Oh no, private
federally
loans are a totally,
sponsored.
meaning the federal government is paying for them. The
Mhm.
money is coming from the federal government through the Department of Education.
See, the thing is, from my understanding, they were federally insured,
No,
not
no, they are
federally
paid.
backed.
No, they are federally backed. At least the ones I'm
Yeah.
talking about are federally backed.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to look into that. I could have sworn
I mean,
there was.
do correct me
I
if
didn't
I'm
think the
wrong
government had
because,
a bank.
well, they don't. It's taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
so then essentially they are paying for people's college.
they are, but yeah, so my whole thing is, and I was just going to say, because some people are going to be like, well, some of those loans were subsidized. It's like, well, okay, there's going to be a degree of caveat here because a lot of people's loan portfolios are on a case by case basis. But and here's the part that's going to piss some people off because you're never going to make everybody happy, but you would, in fact, you would solve the crisis without giving people like
Where'd you
a,
go?
oh,
I
did I
can't hear you.
freeze? Did I freeze?
I
Freeze.
can't hear you.
It's on your end because YouTube can hear us. Anything? Can you hear me? Papa? Do you want to build a snowman? I know it's on your end, buddy. Headphones? Now you got me all paranoid.
What's
Now you got me
going
all
on?
paranoid. I think it's your headphones. It's your headphones. See, I heard
No,
that.
I can hear just fine. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Why did that stop?
Don't know.
I got an idea. Hold on.
We're figuring out the
I
technical
got it.
difficulties.
All right. What about now?
What up? Can you hear me? Not yet.
I still can't hear you.
Try it without headphones.
Hold on. Let me double.
I don't know why I said that because you can't hear me.
Oh, all right. Now I can hear you. We're good.
Oh, you got it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That
Sorry.
was weird. But anyway,
Yeah. I don't know what the hell's wrong.
yeah, so I will preface with if I'm wrong and those loans are actually held by a bank, this really doesn't work, but you could tweak it to make it work so that nobody's thrilled, but everybody's content. So the caveat would be if you've already paid your student loans, then you're kind of SOL. But you could make the argument that if you're able to pay off your student loans, then clearly you got a job in which you were successful enough to do so. Yes, it's unfair, but like to your point, the government should have never gotten involved in student debt in the first place. So
So
suck it.
according to this, it says student loans can be held either by the federal government or private institutions such as banks. The type of loan determines who owns it.
Yeah.
Federal student loans are owned and managed by the United States Department of Education. They're the most common type. So they are owned by the Department of Education and they are looking to dismantle the
Yeah, which that's so in this
send it back to the states, man.
well,
I'm okay with it.
here's the really frustrating part about the Trump administration for me, which kind of is all encompassing. A lot of the things they're doing, I'm with them in spirit. I'm pro end goal of what they're doing. It's the manner in which they're doing it. The number one thing the Trump administration is doing that I have a problem with is like the Department of Education is a perfect example. I'm all for getting rid of the Department of Education, but they're doing it before they have the new plan formulated.
That's the thing. They don't need a new plan. It needs to go back to the states, and each
Well,
state
okay,
should
so
choose
maybe
how
well,
they educate.
but there's things that the Department of Education does that
Like what?
like granted they shouldn't be doing it, right? Well, managing student loans, for example.
And they suck at it.
Well, I again I agree, right? But this is goes back to Obamacare. It's like and Trump. This is Trump logic here. So yes, Trump wanted to repeal Obamacare, but he didn't have an alternative.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah, I
kept
agree
it
with
in
that.
place because Obama, like, don't get me wrong here. And this is the most frustrating thing about being a moderate is
It's still
Obamacare.
something.
Well, like Obamacare sucks, but it's better
Horribly.
than nothing, right?
But really,
Yes, it
is
is
it really
because it
nothing?
yes,
Get rid of
because it provides
Obamacare. Hold on. Indiana has healthy Indiana plan. If
right.
other states can't figure out how to literally help low income people, like they don't deserve to be a state. Like literally, Indiana literally taxes people on cigarettes to pay for health care.
When you said cigarettes,
For
you said it like Forrest Gump, and I don't know why that just made me like here's a they tax
you
people
got
on
any cigarettes?
they tax people on cigarettes.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like if all these meth towns from Shelbyville, or not Shelbyville, but from Indiana can literally get this done, then any other state can do it. And I'm fairly certain California has their own state healthcare, probably for low income people too. They're not just relying on Obamacare and
No, no,
whatnot. But
I
like,
think they're using, well, but here's the thing, okay, right? So,
and it's not cheap for people who are over the income limits. Like it's like insane how much it costs for insurance. And like
well,
a lot of people have been paying in cash. They've been asking their doctors, "Oh, how much is that in cash?" And then
yeah.
the doctors give them like, "Oh my gosh, like 85% discount."
Well, that has less to do with cash and more to do with how like the issue isn't,
It's corruption. It's corruption.
well, I don't know, like, yes, I don't know that corruption's the best word. It's more collusion than, well, I get, that's what I'm saying. Corruption's not
Big pharma's
wrong.
together, the doctors are together, like they all they
It's
like the
it's big pharma and the insurance companies too. The doctors are
it's
caught in the middle.
Oh no, the doctors are just as guilty. They take
Some,
kickbacks. Don't let them lie. I've never met a doctor that's like not pushed pharmaceuticals. Like I've never had a doctor that hasn't pushed pharmaceuticals
well, you
on
know
me
what?
on me
Touche,
specifically.
touche.
Uh, except chiropractors, but do we count them as doctors?
No, we do not.
Yeah, it's holistic, and honestly, holistic is the way to go, except for like if you have cancer or something like that, and then I'll just tell you to fast,
We'll see.
among other things.
So my interview with Nat, which you can't watch it on YouTube because YouTube removed it for medical misinformation. But Nat, who's a holistic natural healer, you can see it on Spotify on the Arte podcast. During my conversation with her, I basically laid out like here's my thing. Like I think holistic is great for prevention, but once you're actually sick, a lot of times you do actually need medical intervention. It depends. It depends on the illness, and holistic can help for sure.
But literally
But
everything that you have, anything that you would ever have or ever have, is all 100% due to environment or food. That's it.
genetic
So
abnormalities, diabetes, for
well,
example,
diabetes, what one,
one.
like, yeah, like that's
Well,
that's
but even to your
that
point, like yes,
but
yes,
diabetes one literally probably comes from the mother who's probably not eating so well while she's pregnant and
it's
not getting the
genetic.
right nutrients. Like I'm not saying it's not genetic, but I'm saying like that they're trying to say genetic markers for like psychopaths and murderers and whatnot. And I'm just like, well, what about when they were molested as a 3-year-old
I
and then they
mean,
grew up with
I mean
that and then
to
they
be fair,
turned into what they are.
but I would still make the case. Like I'll use the diabetes example. Like even type 2 diabetes, right? Like yes, you're right. That's an environmental factor for the most part. But once you have it, you do need medical intervention.
Diabetes 2, not necessarily.
Not
Diabetes 1,
necessarily, but a lot of
absolutely,
times.
absolutely. Like you don't have a choice. But actually, there are, I don't know if this is true or not, but you've heard of Ozempic. Apparently, that helps your body to start creating your own insulin. So the thing is, it's actually, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's
It's
helping
not accurate.
diabetics.
It's
So yeah,
helping
it's
diabetics because it curbs appetite.
no, no, no. Like it helps their bodies produce their own insulin. Like this is what I read. I don't know if it's
Oh,
true or not. Like I said,
that might be true for type 2. I'd have to read it. But
but
fun
the thing
fact.
is, there are
Oh,
other
go ahead.
things that Ozempic, this, yeah, I wouldn't do that shit. But anyway,
Well,
go ahead.
funny you mentioned Ozempic because I read today. They did a study in the UK, which is not definitive. It's one study, right? But so ever since Ozempic came around, I'm like, nah. There's something about it. For one thing, I feel like it's cheating for people who aren't taking it for legitimate medical reasons. And South Park skewered it. That episode is so funny. But they did a study in the UK that is now linking Ozempic potentially to an increased risk of blindness. And I'm like, see, that's the thing. They're touting this thing as a miracle drug, and it's not new, but in terms of being available widely on the mass market, it's pretty new. Like the drug itself is not it's not super new, right? But
People just need to learn how to fast. That's it. learn how to fast and everything will be okay.
Well,
Like literally. I
and
haven't had I haven't had a cough or a sniffle in like over a year and a half. Well, I wouldn't say a cough or sniffle. I've had issues other than that because I'm crazy, but like
George.
George, but like dude, fasting like it's insane. Like I don't mean like days. I mean like 16, 18 hours.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody. That's another thing our healthcare system really needs to understand is that it's not a one size fits all because like there are people and I don't mean like there are people that are legitimately hypoglycemic and
For
like
sure, Justin. I agree, man.
is that better Ozempic anything? So, sure. Yeah, I mean
As
yeah,
it
I agree.
should.
But anyway, back to my point. There are people that are legitimately hypoglycemic who if they were to fast, they would have issues. Now, that's not most people no. But if you are legitimately hypoglycemic, there's like people who legitimately can't eat gluten because they have an actual allergy.
Dude, there are studies out that literally show that people who fast regularly actually have a higher metabolism.
Right, right. No, I'm not disputing that. I'm just
So
saying there are people.
they wouldn't be hypo.
Well, no, there are some people who are clinically hypoglycemic, meaning their body just does not.
They're not paying attention to what they need to be eating. Like I guarantee you look at their diet, it's
I
full
mean,
of carbohydrates and literally like
maybe,
not enough fat and then not enough protein. Like
maybe.
literally, if
My
you have a high, no, if you have a high protein and high fat diet, you're good. If you have low carb attached to that, great. But like, don't get me wrong, eat your pasta, people, but
my
like,
point is
eat
my
less
point
of it.
Yeah, my point is it's not a one size fits all. Now that being said, there is something called, and I know this is a dirty word now. It's coming back though, but it was a dirty word for a very long time. There is such a thing as normal, like normal use, because everybody used to say like it's on a spectrum. What's up,
So
toast?
toast.
They're like it's on a spectrum, and
Yeah,
I have to remind people that a spectrum, yes, spectrums exist, but there are poles of a spectrum.
it's like on what part of the spectrum is obesity? It's like anything past this is obesity. Like,
Yeah,
like get it together, people.
but
All right, we're getting
anorexia,
sidetracked.
no, not really, because we're arguing the merits of logic.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
what was I saying? So yeah, my whole bit about the student loans, wipe the interest off, make them pay back the principal balance that they borrowed because yes, they signed the paper.
Government?
But
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if it's a
I'm talking
private
government.
bank, no.
Private's totally different. But
100% agree with you
well,
then.
and the difference is that you can technically bankrupt a private. You can get rid of a private student loan through bankruptcy. You can't do that with a federal student loan. You cannot declare bankruptcy on a federal student loan. So
Yeah, but well, what's the government going to do if you owe money? Put you in
I mean,
prison?
all it effectively does is ruin your credit score. But
Oh, a government
right,
that can't even like literally fucking manage their finances is going to like scare me with a credit score.
well, I mean, the the way to survive without a credit score is don't borrow money. But
Oh yeah. Oh, you can
it's
live without a credit score. You don't need
you
it. Like, but the
absolutely
thing is,
can.
you have to learn how to manage your finances,
Well,
and you
that's
don't
that.
have.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think a lot of banks are going like I guarantee you within the next 10 years, credit score will be it won't matter anymore because like
Oh no, it's
this
gonna matter more.
this last I don't think so, dude. Like these last 3 4 years, dude, it's just like speaking of government finances, what do you guys think about Trump firing all the federal employees? Which federal employees? The
I was gonna say
$87,000.
because some he can, some he can't. It depends.
Is it the 87,000 IRS employees? Because I don't think he hired. I had an in-depth convo with my American girlfriend who works for the government. What- Is your name Even Toast? Your girl works for the government? Damn,
Yeah, he's an informant.
we're
You're a
keeping an eye on
Canadian.
you
You're a
now.
Canadian informant. You inform the U.S. about the goings on in Canada. And it's like they still say a
Gives grants. Cool.
lol.
Lol.
Oh, by the way, Matt, Virus and I invented a new C-suite position today. Like, yeah, CEO, CFO, COO. Well, now you have CFG, which is
What's that?
the chief fall guy.
Uh,
Trump
Hell
needs
yeah.
one. Trump needs one. Oh, you've got hoes in different area codes. You're like James Bond. He's got girlfriends all over the world. Or not Jason Derulo, I guess would be more appropriate. Anyway, that's a very dated reference. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. But I would like to point out, so the Doge is making the rounds, right? Which, by the way,
Oh
everyone,
my gosh.
I see all of you watching. Join us in the chat. Let us know your opinion and like the video if you would, please. Yet I'm not allowed to leave my country right now. Yeah, you are not.
Naughty, naughty.
Burnt
Um,
toast.
yeah, dude, it's wild, like what Doge has been finding. Like and the funny thing is people keep like saying that he's lying about it. I'm like, what what would he have to gain about lying about finding like money that's being spent on condoms like and other things? Like that's the only one I have right now, but I did like the video. You did very much.
What video was that? Oh,
I did like the video. I read it wrong. Thank you,
oh,
Haley.
thank you, Haley. I had to read that 4 times to understand it. So here's my thing about Doge, and if anything's gonna set you off, it's this, right? Well, not really. I think you'll agree with me. I'm legitimately flabbergasted at some of the things they're doing, but also the number of people
Who?
who are
Doge?
n- okay. So the number of people that are anti what Doge is doing, and they're like defending all this incredibly stupid and wasteful
Funding.
spending
Yeah.
that like they're clearly uncovering what is effectively a giant money laundering operation. And one, there was some, I don't even remember his name. There was some idiot in Congress today who, of
Canuck.
course, was a Democrat, who was like, "Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene should." He actually said, "I'll give credit where credit's due." He said "dick pic" on the congressional floor, so at least he's using big boy language. He was like, "Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene showed us dick pics, albeit censored, so I thought I'd show a dick pic." And he put up a picture of Elon Musk, and I'm like, "Clever." It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like you're outing yourself as part of this part of this organization that's just funneling taxpayer dollars.
Is that slander?
No, not technically. He's
Well,
not stating a
a
fact.
government
No, 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 no. He's stating an opinion, not a fact. So in order for it to be
okay.
slander, which in this case it would be defamation, not slander, but
Yeah, that's what I meant.
in order to be considered defamation, it's a really, really strong burden of proof, and it's actually harder to do with somebody who's a public figure like Elon Musk is. But he has to state something as a fact because, ironically enough, Legal Eagle on YouTube, great YouTube channel. It's a lawyer who goes into a lot of pop culture movie things, but from a legal lens. People were asking him if Drake could sue Kendrick Lamar for defamation because of the song "Not Like Us," which he performed at the Super Bowl. And I mean, he can file a suit, but it would be
Freedom
pretty
of
hard to.
speech. As long as it's not a direct threat.
Well, no. So here's how to
I
explain
don't know
this.
how that works.
So I would have to state something as a fact, and that fact would not only have to be incorrect, but it would also have to cause you legitimate damages to your reputation or your revenue or something. Oh, is he
Drake would
suing?
be he would be suing for that. Oh, fucking pussy.
Well, I don't know. Frankly, if I were Drake, I would too, because that's a pretty
No,
serious allegation.
you come back with a quip, man. Like you come back out with something else too. Don't be a bitch, dude. Drake talking all tough and then
Do you
can't
know
even.
what? Do you know what the
Yeah,
allegation is though?
he said he was a pedo.
Yeah.
Come back out with something, man. How about you? Don't be fucking guilty looking.
Well, okay, so that's the key though, is not only that, but the
And
statement also has to
he
be,
didn't call him he called him a pedo in a song, correct?
yeah, yeah, it was a lyric.
So
Yeah.
it's a song. Our song's
Well,
taken as fact.
well,
It's a song.
that's gonna be for the lawyers to decide.
Yeah,
But
it ain't gonna go nowhere.
here's
Adrenochrome consumer. Yeah,
well no
Drake's a pussy. I like a couple of his songs, but other than that, like he's a fucking coward.
well, but here's my point too, is the statement also has to be proven false.
There you go. Exactly. Spur.
Yeah.
He DM'd 13-year-old Bobby Brown.
Wait a minute. Isn't Millie Bobby Brown like 30
No, dude,
something?
she's only like 20, 21.
What? Oh, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
she's
Bryce. I'm thinking of Bryce Dallas Howard. Never mind.
ooh, she's redheaded, isn't she?
Yeah. Jurassic World. Yeah, I was getting my.
Only one.
I don't
She
know who.
ballooned in the second one.
I don't know who Millie Bobby Brown is then. Anyway,
11 off Stranger. This dude's never seen Stranger Things. Make fun of him.
I saw the first episode. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I remember reading about that. I tuned out because I was like, that's odd. Yeah. But anyway, so this guy in Congress did the whole like dick pic thing, and he thought he was clever, which so many Democrats do this, and it's just, to be fair, Republicans do it too. But where this might get you hot, I don't know. Do you consider yourself a Republican?
No.
Okay, so this won't get you hot. Today, I think it was the House, they voted to raise the debt ceiling $4 trillion. So, yeah,
No.
Doge is uncovering billions of dollars, and then they voted to
But
raise
yeah, we
the
gotta
fucking.
raise it. Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess they're probably trying to keep the government running. And unfortunately, they can't find every single thing right away.
I
I mean,
imagine so.
I'm not saying it's smart. Like, stop. I mean, if they have to avoid a government shutdown, I mean, do what you got to do. But like, come on.
Well, but all the only reason I'm bringing this up is because when the Democrats were in more control or total control, and they did the same thing, you had Republicans grandstanding, being like, "If the government's got to shut down, so be it." And listen,
Well,
I'm Ron
okay.
Swanson. I'm over here like slash it, slash it, slash it. And the episode of Parks and Rec where the government shuts down and Ron is like happy as a clam, I identify with that episode so much.
What's his name? Nick
Nick
Offerman.
Offerman.
Be, listen, people, listen to me. Look me in the eyeballs. Be a Ron Swanson, not a Nick Offerman. Dude's a cuck.
He's funny though. I'll give him credit.
He's a good actor, just like them all. Like
stick
they're
to
all good
acting.
actors, but his personal political opinions they're just trash. I don't I was like, dude, come on, man. I was like, how do you personify Nick or not Nick, but Swanson, and then you say this and you're like, how
Because he's a good
some of
actor.
some of well, from what I've read, it looks like Trump is reinvesting the money Doge is finding into the military, which actually worries me.
But he can't do that.
Oh, he's Toast. Listen, brother, I would like for you to be on our side, but I don't want Canada to be a 51st state because that's too many liberals voting,
Yeah, no, we've already had this discussion. If Canada becomes the 51st state, there won't be a Republican president for at least 50 years.
and then we'll all be broke and living in fucking third world country, like completely, like
Well,
no joke.
I wouldn't call Canada a third world country, but
I don't mean Canada. I'm saying if we
oh, you
ended up
mean we'll
voting
become.
like these idiots,
But
everybody in this
so be
vicinity.
so because if Canada and the United States do the fusion dance, they turn into fat goat tanks.
He says Trump is already making my country more liberal. I'm sorry, Justin. Like, you guys already don't have true freedom of speech, so I feel bad for you. You get arrested for saying something online. That's crazy.
Well, that's more of a problem in the UK, honestly. But
It's in Canada too. I've heard
yeah, 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 yeah,
a
yeah,
few
yeah.
people.
I'm just saying
I'm
it's
not
not
saying
super
it's like I'm not
common.
saying they could just yeah, I know. But it's like, oh, you made a post. Let me.
Well, what kills me is there was somebody in the UK who's I don't think he's serving. I think he's facing jail time for sharing a post. He didn't even post it. He shared a post. Now,
I just
granted, he's
this world
probably
is so
well, he's
fucked up.
probably to be fair, he's probably going to get off because they do have freedom of speech. It's just not quite as well protected as the United States Constitution does.
I
But
have
on
freedom of speech.
Well, but honestly, my favorite argument against this whole 14th Amendment thing is everybody being like, okay, so we get to reinterpret the Second Amendment next. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about, guys. You have to think about the consequences of your actions because if you reinterpret one amendment, then they're all up for grabs because you have now set the precedent.
Freedom of
S-
expression.
Stop it.
How many times has your car been broken into by addicts? Holy shit.
I'm assuming you're talking to Justin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't live anywhere, and I definitely love for someone to do something like that. I got a lot of pent up rage.
I do not know. I do not know. I know somebody stole my EV car charger out of my garage though. That it's been a while. It was I had to buy a new one.
To
Yeah,
be
it's
fair,
like
you are up in the boonies, like in an up and coming neighborhood.
it was formerly the hood, not gonna lie.
It's coming around.
It's shifted. It's shifting. But speaking speaking I don't know, that's not a good segue. I need a segue for our sponsor. What's something that's awesome?
Uh,
I'll tell you something
freedom,
that's
freedom.
awesome. Yes, freedom is awesome. And you know what else is awesome? Our friends at Vizard.ai. Listen, if you create content like we do, one of the surefire ways to succeed on YouTube, if you don't want to be a bitch and buy views and likes and subscribers, because we don't want to be like Drake, we don't want to be a bitch. You have to produce YouTube shorts and shorts content for other social media platforms. And here's the thing, guys, you can do it on your own. It's just really time consuming. And especially if you want to do it well. If you want to make shitty ones, yeah, you can probably crap out a few in an hour. But thanks to our friends at Vizard.ai, we can now produce a ton of short form content in a fraction of the time, and it actually looks really good. The platform's phenomenal. I found it, and then I immediately had a Zoom meeting with their developers. They're a great company. They're a growing company. They're a new company, newish. I mean, they've been around for a few years, but they're really expanding and growing. Listen, guys, for what you pay, they have so many fantastic tools. The shorts creation, which not only creates the clips for you, because I've compared it, like if you're a CapCut subscriber, CapCut has a similar function, doesn't have even remotely close to the editing tools or viral score. Because one thing Vizard does is they'll take your clips and they'll rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 for viral predictability, meaning like if it's a 10, it's most likely going to go viral or be well received. And then obviously 987, so on, so on. And it tells you why too. So it gives you some sort of indication. And also a new feature is that they will now generate a social post using their AI technology. So you don't even have to think up the text anymore when you post it. So it's great. And then also has a lot of other tools, like they have a video translator, which I've used. It is awesome. It's kind of scary how good it is, frankly. Auto captions that you can edit or leave out if you prefer to do, like for me personally, I prefer to add my own captions, but you don't have to. Y'all need some freedom. But as if that weren't good enough, if you use our link and promo code AIP in the description, our link in the description, use promo code AIP, you get 5% off your first 12 months of payments off that already low price. So you should totally, if you're making content, you should totally check out our friends at Vizard.ai. Now I've never had any problems with
Visor. That's
Vizard.
awesome. That is really awesome though.
Well,
Like
and you've seen, if you subscribe to this channel, you've seen some of the shorts that have been created using Vizard.ai. So,
sorry, there's been comments going back and forth. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, that's scary. If you can't speak your own opinion, like in a public setting, and you have to be fear of being arrested, like that's an issue.
well, that's the whole reason behind freedom of
Or
speech.
or even fined. I'm sorry, I say arrested or fined. Like, I know they're probably not gonna arrest you, but like, oh yeah, yeah, but it's all in good faith. Like nobody's an enemy here, so it's all good. I was talking to you, Toast.
Yeah,
Quite the lively chat.
yeah, quite a lively chat we have this evening. As long as George don't show up.
It's George.
George will be like, First Amendment protection. That was Arnold, not George.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Viva.
dude, like
Give
I
these
still I
people
still I still
freedom.
can't get over that. We need our freedom.
Give these people freedom. Dude, I'm telling you what. in '86, if Arnold Schwarzenegger had played George Washington, that would have been a badass movie. Just for some reason, George Washington has like the thickest Austrian accent ever.
Hey.
Come on,
Well, I mean,
we've,
you got to
we've
think
got
he
the.
probably had some type of accent.
It
To
was
be fair,
probably
like
English. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's George.
Come on, we've got to get the Valley Forge.
We have to cross the river in the middle of the night.
We have to cross the river and beat those German bastards.
Dude,
Rawr.
I think if you guys did elect Schwarzenegger for a dictator, you probably wouldn't have any issues, dude. You guys would probably have awesome movies all the time, and not from him. Like he would just approve them. I don't know if that's true or not. That's left field.
It violates the Constitution. Stop it.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Is now back in the App Store. Oh shit!
Oh, I didn't even know it left.
Yeah, it wasn't available in the App Store for a long time.
See, I was so confused. I never asked anybody when they said I didn't want to sound stupid when they were saying, "Oh, I deleted it," and then and I was like, "Oh." I was like, "You can't download it again?" I was like, "Why?"
No, it wasn't available in the App Store. Yeah, to answer your question, Toast, yes, the app was functioning, but a lot of people, like dumbasses, deleted it when it stopped working.
Yeah, why would you do that? That's silly. I mean,
Well,
I
I
get it. So some people are quick to remove apps off their phone if they're like, if it's not going to work, then
don't.
why have it?
Well,
I
and
understand.
here's what people don't understand, right? So the way
Don't
that
live
law,
in fear.
well, no, the way that law is written, like people don't understand this.
Yeah, I was toast.
When TikTok stopped working, it's because TikTok shut it off.
Hmm. That's what I
Theoretically,
knew that. I was like, I could
yeah.
just use a VPN.
Oh, I did. It totally worked. But theoretically, right? The law doesn't say you can't have TikTok. The law says they can't provide it through the App Store. It's actually a really easy workaround. And like a VPN even works with print because like I use CapCut, and if they take my CapCut, god damn it, there'll be hell to pay. But
You're right. I know, Justin. I based on some people just admitted a lot of just assumed it wasn't coming back. But I can't read tonight. I know what you mean.
words,
But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they thought it wasn't coming back, so they just deleted it. And like I said, I know. But I'm such a hoarder when it comes to apps. I probably have 45,000 on my phone. No, I'm just kidding.
well, I thought you were gonna say whore, and I was like, "Oh, not really, not
Whore.
anymore. Not
Whore.
not since you went overseas.
Whore. Where's Xavier?
He completely
What,
misunderstood that.
what did he say
He's, he's now using it as a metaphor for anything sexual, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. He thought I don't know because I told him the story verbatim, or actually, yeah, I told him the story verbatim of what happened, and he took that as like a ploy to get somebody to have sex with you. Like you tell them you're going overseas, and I'm like, no, did you not listen to the story?
It's getting a BJ on the toilet. But like I know people call it Blumkeys, but the thing is the reason being there was a
I prefer
backstory
going
to it.
overseas.
My one of my good friends was taking a dump and a girl literally came in and was talking to him about going overseas as he was in the military and she proceeded to blah while he was taking a shit. So I called it from then on going overseas. Not a Blumpkey because a Blumpkey is like, but going overseas is funnier when you tell the backstory.
Yeah, so he took that as anything sexual, and I'm like, no, that's it's not funny when it's like that. It's funny when it's specific or Pacific.
Yeah, but pussyfic.
Nah, I don't know. We'll workshop it.
Pun guys.
We're punny guys. I'm assuming alcohol was involved to answer
She
that
was pretty.
question.
She was pretty drunk. Your American women are built different. Oh, dude, they drink a lot. They can.
Anywho, the one thing I wanted to make sure to touch on though, because I don't want to just, own the
They're
libs
gross.
tonight. I want to, yeah, I want to justly give the Republicans some shit because it just wouldn't be me if I didn't try to piss off both sides.
Go for it. I'll debunk you if I can.
No, you'll agree with me on this. But like, okay, so the Elon thing, the the Elon thing. Um,
Oh, my heart goes out to you. Is that what you mean?
well, okay, so here's the thing about that.
There's literally still people arguing with me about that. And I'm just
I
like, are
know,
you are
but
you like fucking stupid? Like you're fucking stupid. Like he literally said it after he did it. My heart goes out to all of you. And I was like, come the fuck on. Like
it wasn't
seriously, like
okay.
that's
But
so lame on everybody's part. Like he's a
here's
Nazi.
here's the thing about that though. So it's like I definitely give Elon the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he intended it to be Kyle, how are you? But also I gotta like, dude, optics. You have to consider optics.
He's autistic.
Fine,
Like people need to
you have to
remember
consider the
that they're
optics. I
going
don't.
to do awkward things. He was
Okay,
literally so happy. Did you see him stimming
I
before?
did,
Like, dude, he
I
was so
did.
happy. And everybody doing that is like less of a person because of it. Like, my son is autistic, and I'm like, dude, if I find somebody making fun of him, I'm gonna break their fucking nose.
No,
And
see,
I
I'm not
said that
making
here
fun of him.
live.
I'm telling him. I'm telling him.
I know. I'm talking to other people.
Yeah.
Like, I know you.
Well, see, and here's I'm probably stimming right now because I'm playing with this. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But like, okay, Elon is a smart guy. Like he's a very smart guy, and I gotta believe that he can recognize the optics. Now, if I'd been somebody who was helping him maintain his public image, I would have gone out there and said, "Hey, Elon, you
Yeah, we
gotta
are toast.
a little bit." But it's like you got to get ahead of this thing. You got to make a statement and say, "Listen, that's not what I intended." But I understand how that gesture can be misconstrued. It was not my intention, right? That's all I would have said. It, I think there were way too many people initially that were kind of like dismissive of it because I'm like he didn't commit a crime, and I'm not saying he's a Nazi, right? But
I hate to
again,
say it, even
optics.
if he was, it's still freedom of speech. Unless he's like literally calling
Well,
for mass genocide, there's nothing you can do about someone saying that they identify as a Nazi. Like I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying there ain't shit you can do about it unless they're literally like threatening somebody. That's why we
well,
have freedom of speech in this country. There's no ifs, ands,
well.
buts, wells, nothing. There's no wells, there's no nothing. Like it's either freedom of speech without threats. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, okay, here's the thing about this example
You're gonna look like an
specifically.
asshole.
Well, but here's the thing about this example specifically. So to identify as a Nazi is kind of calling for mass genocide, kind of part and parcel. It's kind of their thing. Like there's no such thing as Nazi light. Like it's kind of you're kind of all in or not. Like like
Oh
I
yeah, I
I've
know.
never known a Nazi to be like, you know,
I said that as an extreme.
I know. It's like, would it be? That's kind of a really sickly, funny thing. Is like Nazi light. It's like we really like the economic reparations, but we're
Justin,
not
what do you
so
mean by
much
that?
about the racism.
He says there's a clip of my heart will go out to you hand gesture that didn't look like that gesture. Come on, dude.
Well, yeah,
Come on,
people.
man.
Well, because like the thing is, oh, I mean, but here's the thing: Democrats have done it before. I've seen videos of them doing it. I mean, are we talking about a full blown national socialist? I'm not sure I understand the question there, Toast.
So are you saying that you believe his hand gesture was a Nazi salute? Is that what you're saying, Justin?
I was gonna say, for my two
Because
cents, no.
I was gonna say like yeah that's reaching. You might want to stretch.
It's ridiculous. I just think optics should would have been better appreciated.
Don't get me wrong, like it looked a little funky, but like I said, the guy has Asperger's, and
Yeah,
it's
and
like, you know, like no matter what it looked like, he literally said, "My heart goes out to you." What is he doing? The Nazi salute and saying his heart goes out to Hitler? Like, Yeah, it's the Roman salute, and it's actually the
Oh
Roman
God,
salute.
no, stop, stop,
Right?
stop. No, no, stop. Time out. No. Pause.
Explain
Don't
then.
don't go there. Don't go there, right? Don't
No,
go there.
explain. Explain.
Okay, yes, at one time it was the American salute. Children there you can see photos of children making that hand gesture to the American flag because that used to be what we do for the Pledge of Allegiance. Here's the thing though, much like the swastika, which didn't start out as a symbol of hatred, racism, and bigotry. But the Nazis did such a great fucking job of rebranding all that that you can now not escape it. It's kind of like now a white hood of a certain shape is synonymous with the Ku Klux Klan. Even if you're intending
We're taking it
something,
back.
it's one of the few things you can't really take back. So, like, yes, thousands of years ago, it was the Roman salute, which actually is incidentally why to this day, if you're saluting with a sword or a bladed weapon, you still hold it sticking it out. Notice my hand. It's not in that because it was the same. What's that? Yeah, that's the thing about Germans. They're very efficient.
Pencil moustache.
That's another. Yeah, Justin and I were talking about that on a separate conversation. It's like, yeah, another thing they ruined pencil mustache. Because if you have a pencil mustache now, Charlie Chaplin had one before, but now if you have one, there's one guy people think of.
Is it
So
Chaplin or Chapin?
Chaplin with the L.
Why does Chapin sound so familiar? Wasn't there a singer-songwriter, Chapin?
Chopin. Chopin.
No, it's literally Chapin.
Poor
Uh,
Charlie Chaplin had to shave it. I know, right?
who's that? I don't know. The Roman salute was so you could be seen from a distance by a city-state.
Yeah, and we have
Empty.
that today. It's called the wave.
Yeah, so why are people getting all upset over it? It's like it,
Because of the connotation that the hand gesture now has, thanks to Mustache Man and his snappily dressed minions.
like if people like literally don't like let that one go, that's
Momentum.
like so fucking stupid because literally like the dude was so happy. And the thing is, autistic people, they like to speak with their hands. Jake. I'm just kidding. But no, that's truth. Like autistic people speak with their hands. So the thing is, when he was like so like just he was just I don't know, like and then the dude's not American. So the thing is he's going to do different things. And I guarantee you he's a very you're still there, right?
What's that?
Okay, just making sure you're still there.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you. But no, like so I mean, he's gonna do awkward things. He's not American. Like, he didn't grow up with, what we know and this and that. So it's a little different.
Yes, but he would have grown up with a knowledge of World War II.
Doesn't matter. I guarantee you he was a big Roman fan, and so the
Okay,
thing
I
is if
dude,
it's a Roman salute,
but I'm a big Roman fan, and I don't go around
you're also American.
that. That has very little to do with it, dude. Because like,
You grew up in a different education system than him. So
right,
therefore
dude. But
it could be a little skewed. The thing is like you got to expand your horizons. Not everybody thinks the same way.
I'm not even. Wow, I'm not going to comment
I'm
on the
fucking with you.
irony of that.
No, seriously, because the thing is, it seems like I'm being more open-minded here than other people. Like, fuck up. I think if he had come out and been like, my bad, I
That's
don't
all I'm
know.
saying. Because I don't
I
think
don't
he
think
meant
anyone
it
needs to
that
say.
way.
He literally said, my heart goes out to all of you right after he did it. There's no fucking coming back from that. That's stupid. Like, that's stupid. Like,
Okay,
if anyone disagrees with that, that's pretty stupid.
okay, I'm gonna share with you another example of something oddly similar that happened. So, thanks to Paramount Pictures, Americans now know who Robbie Williams is, and he tells a story about when he was.
Exactly, Toast. I agree. The
What's
world's
that?
richest man has no one to answer to.
I mean,
But
to a point,
if
but
he is an American citizen, he does answer to our government, to be fair.
he answers to our government now. By the way, um,
Yeah. Yeah, because he's an employee. Like, is
no,
he getting
because
paid
he's
or is he just
no, he is not getting. He is so technically no, he's not a government employee.
yeah, it's like he
I
could
will.
literally just be like, okay, I'm gonna buy your country. He
You're
is your government now. A lot of people are saying that they're saying, oh, it's President Musk. And I'm like, You really think Trump's gonna let that happen? You really think Trump, everything that Musk is doing, Trump has to okay. That dude's
Yeah,
head is
that's
in everything. Hand, not head.
our government should
If
not
he's
need
part of the government.
well, okay, so technically he answers to the president
Yeah, which is also answers to the people, so he is
in
answering to the people.
in a manner of speaking.
And
But
he also
anyways,
can't do anything that's like going to be egregious or against anything. Like he's not going to break the law. Like
well,
he's not
so
going to
here,
be able to.
well, he's technically broken the law already. Yeah.
How?
He violated several privacy laws when it comes to government information and people's personal information.
Elon?
Yes. Well, Doge
Which one?
specifically.
Which
I don't
ones
know
do you
the
know?
specific law, but like accessing people's social security number and addresses through the Department of Education or the Department of Treasury's payment system, that information is supposed to be confidential. And he effectively had all of it. Now the court, there's been a court injunction that says they can't do that anymore, but he's already had access to the information.
Well, of course, Musk's kid thinks he's president. I mean, he sees him on TV. How old is he?
Oh, I misread that.
He told Trump to shut up. No, I didn't see that. That'd be
I
funny.
didn't see it. That's hilarious. He said, I'll tell you to shut up, you little.
Exactly, Toast. Exactly.
Right, but
That's a good one.
here's my point though. Just because, okay, I love the spirit of our judicial system and our laws because here's the point. Like, you can have a criminal defendant that is blatantly guilty. That person still has constitutional rights and a right to due process no matter what the circumstances. So, even if Elon and Doge are uncovering fraud, they still have to follow the rules because if you can justify not following the rules, then you can come up with any solution where you can justify anything. And that is dangerous.
So let me fix this real quick. Get rid of the Department of Education. There you go.
What's
It's
that?
done. Because you said that's how he accessed people's information was through the
Well,
Department of Education, correct?
it's not just the Department of Education, also through the
Oh, is it
Department of
more than?
Treasury. The Treasury,
Oh,
yeah.
well, now see, now how did he get a hold of that information? Why wasn't there anyone to stop him?
They
Like,
tried.
how could they try and not be able to stop him? That's confusing.
Okay,
Are you
so
saying our
this gets
government doesn't work?
well,
We're broken?
well.
I'm being very facetious right now, if you can't
I
tell.
know, but no, that's a legit question. So basically, they were
Democracy is a fucking joke.
tr- Musk and Doge essentially threaten them to get in, and then it takes the courts a while to do things, which they actually did this pretty quick. I think it was only a matter of 2 weeks before they got the injunction, which is quite
Separation of powers. What? Dancing real close to violating the separation of powers.
well. Technically,
I,
they already have,
I'm not
but
dancing.
I don't dance. Don't
I just
ask
pull up my pants and do the rock away. Now lean back.
me. Technically, they have violated the separation of powers, but in the ways that they have, there have already been several court injunctions to stop them or block them from doing so, i.e., the 14th Amendment. I know I keep going back to it, but that might be the most egregious example of Trump needs to get away from these idiot lawyers that are advising him because some of these motherfuckers are stupid,
Either that or they know they're going to get away with it. Nothing's going to happen
but they're
because
not. They're not.
look at the last administration and what they got away with. I think we're okay. And
Well, okay,
I'm
no,
not saying they should,
that's
but at the same
demonstrably not
time,
true.
dude, we need insane reform like within our own government. Like
Bro,
it's insane.
here's what I mean when I'm calling their lawyers stupid. Like, okay,
Oh,
so it says right at the outset of the Constitution that
he'd be
the
tried.
what's that?
He said, "How would you feel if Trump ignored the courts and caused a constitutional crisis?" I said he would be tried.
That's the beauty of the Constitution. He wouldn't be able to.
Exactly. See, this is the thing where like, and I'm not saying obviously you don't know anything about America because obviously you do, but like literally how we react to certain things, like if it has anything to do with the Constitution, yeah, we're gonna hang somebody over it. Especially
Legit.
even if he's a president, like if he did something to literally go against it, like
Well, but that's what
sorry.
I keep trying to say. He already has, but he's been stopped.
Well, the 14th Amendment,
Yeah,
but you said he
but
was stopped.
yeah, there was a court injunction that blocked it. They said, no, you don't have the authority to do this.
Well, a constitutional crisis would mean that he was successful in what he did. So he was stopped, in your
Right.
opinion. So therefore,
Well,
nothing
that's not my
happened.
opinion. A judge, like several judges have said, absolutely not. The president does not have the authority to amend or change the Constitution.
What is the 14th Amendment? Toast S.
The section that they're talking about specifically deals with birthright citizenship. The 14th the 14th Amendment was ratified. It was one of the civil rights amendments after the Civil War. Specifically, the point they're talking about is birthright citizenship that says anyone who was born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a citizen of the United States. Now, here's why his lawyer's a fucking idiot. And Vivek Ramaswamy in this case. So they're making the argument that since parents, since people who are undocumented in the United States who are not citizens are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. That is fucking stupid on its face. Because if you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, then you cannot be prosecuted for any crime, civil or federal. I'm sorry, civil or criminal, because I'm
Well, don't they
sorry,
just send
that's
them
fine.
back? They send them back to their
The
origin
but the
country of origin.
but the issue isn't the immigrants. The issue is the children that are born.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're not just gonna leave those kids here. Like if somebody gets like, I mean, that kid would probably go into the system, foster care or whatnot. But like,
Well, and then but here's the other thing too. So there's been
don't break a country's law.
okay,
I
all
know.
right,
It sounds horrible, but at the same time, you go into other countries, they'll kill you for it.
not that many. It's also not that simple. Like the number one comment that just irks the shit out of me lately is just do it legally. Explain to me how to do it legally.
Port of entry.
But that's it's not that simple.
Sure it is.
No, it's
What's so
not.
hard
I
about it?
guarantee because you have to have a visa of some type to enter the country.
Well, wouldn't you go there and claim asylum if you're asylum seeking?
Theoretically, but that's assuming that you can get there.
They got to ride those coyotes.
You gotta ride those coyotes. Was okay, I got comment, but isn't JD Vance and Elon Musk encouraging him to do so? Because that's what it looks like, not trying to be antagonistic. No, I'm not taking it. This is a spirited debate and I like it. What are you talking about specifically, Justin, that JD and Elon are encouraging him to do? As soon as
Well, he
you
said, because yeah,
sent home and now the kid is a ward of the state. Theoretically, Toast, that's why a lot of people have been clamoring for literal decades about some kind of immigration reform. Because here's the problem. It's not easy to legally immigrate to the United States. It's just not. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It's not fast. And a lot of it is temporary.
well, and to be fair, immigration like has kind of hit a stale point. Like, I mean, we can't be simply just like, well, we're not a country of immigrants anymore. Like, I hate to
Yeah,
even say it
oh
like
no, we
that.
absolutely are.
Everybody here is here. Like the thing is, we needed them back in the day for what was it? Like you would know this back when we had mass immigration because we needed
We've,
hands in
we've,
the country for help.
we've always had mass immigration though. That's the thing. We actually, in terms
You're
of
misunderstanding me.
okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, in terms of raw numbers, we don't have an immigration crisis. In fact, we could probably do well to receive more immigrants into the
Illegal
country.
immigration crisis, but not
Well,
a
but
legal one.
the only okay, here's the thing though. Well, there's my notice. I will return momentarily. Mama.
Oh, he got the knock on the door. Exactly, Toast. I agree. It's not supposed to be easy. Like, like and like it sounds horrible. Like you sound heartless, but at the end of the day, like these people are putting their kids in that situation. So like if you don't want things to happen, don't put your children in that situation. Don't put yourself in the situation. It would appear they are encouraging Trump to just ignore the judges and court orders, claiming they are corrupt and radical, but a lot of the judges blocking him are conservative Reagan-era judges. Yeah, I'm not really too versed on what executive orders they're blocking Trump on, but to be honest, like it's I don't know. Like I'd have to look into it more. I don't really know what they're blocking on. Like I would have to know the details of why they're blocking him because if it has anything to do with like money or something like that,
Well,
that'd
it's
be an
you kind of
issue.
have to take it on a case by case basis. What was I talking about? Oh, so this okay. The reason we have an illegal immigration crisis is because I think it was in 1996, Clinton of all people, um, or I should say under the Clinton administration, really stiffened the penalties for illegally entering the country. You used to have a ban, like let's say prior to, I think it was 1996, it might have been earlier, but I'm going to say 96. It was in the 90s. Let's say that you got caught crossing the border illegally into the United States, right? Um, you might get a ban of 6 months from crossing the border, right? It wasn't that big of a deal. Like you'd be penalized and there was usually some kind of fine, but it wasn't that big of a deal. When they stiffened the penalties, what that did was it people didn't want to risk getting caught crossing the border illegally, so they just stayed. Because what a lot of people were doing was just coming over and working for like a season for farm work or coming over for 6 months, then going back, blah, blah, blah. It really wasn't that big of a problem. But of course, fucking Newt Gingrich esque Republicans were like, we gotta stop the fucking brown people from making any money. I don't know why
Kind of like
Newt Gingrich sounds
y-
like.
Nixon.
Hey,
He sounded just like
he
Nixon.
was a Republican too. No, but when they stiffened the penalties, and like I'm giving full credit to the Clinton administration because it was during a largely Democrat administration that they did this because they stiffened the penalties, right? So now
And they had
you can get up to a 10-year ban, dude. Like, well, you say that, but
you wouldn't like my stance on that. I'd
well,
say
but
if
here's
you want to stop illegal immigration completely, if you get caught one time, you're never allowed back in this country. And if you come back in, like you're gonna go to prison or something. Not prison, but like I don't know. Like
okay, but
I
what
just
about somebody?
we
What
we've
about
gotten to the point to where it's more of a it's more of an issue. Like it's not like how it was like back in the 90s, all love
it's
and
a
joy. Like there are
but
people
that's
getting killed left and right. And it's not the fact that like good people
because
hold
it's
on, it's not
illegal,
the fact that good people are getting caught.
but
It's the
they
bad
are.
people not getting caught. Like I'm
Right,
talking,
right,
the murderers and the rapists and
right.
whatnot. And everybody's like, and it's like, no, not all of them, you fucking idiot. Stop taking everything
No,
like
but
so matter of fact.
here's the problem though. Because of how our laws are now, the people that are really paying for it are the people that are just trying to get here and live a better life. Because the criminals don't give a fuck. They
True.
don't give a fuck if they get sent back.
And to be fair, Homan did say that he wasn't going after those people.
I mean, and if you look at the raw numbers, that thus far has been mostly true. There have been some reports, and I say reports with a grain of salt because I don't, it may or may not be accurate.
Can't
There
trust the
have,
publications.
well, no, here's the thing though. There have been confirmed reports of people being arrested, but not necessarily deported. And in fact, this one flew under the radar. A lot of those people who were detained by ICE, a lot of the non criminal history people, and who didn't have existing removal orders were released. Like now they have court
Imagine
dates, but they
that.
were released. Yeah. Well, I have a hunch they were released because the ICE facilities are, I think, at 140% capacity. So there's an issue there. But here's the thing I really want to get back to though is the fact that so many people. Okay, here's a perfect example, right? So TPS stands for temporary protected status. It is a what would you call that? It was a program created by the government. And I get it, temporary is in the name, right? But here's the thing. So before Trump was sworn in, the Biden administration extended TPS for, I think it was 6 countries, right? For another 18 months. It gets reevaluated every 18 months. Then they went back, the Trump administration went back in that bitch Christy Nome, because I hate that hunt. Anyway, she, as the Secretary of Homeland Security, decided it would be a good idea to rescind the extension and then cancel the TPS extension for, I know it was for Venezuela. I think they're evaluating other countries. Their logic being that the situation in Venezuela is better, except that it's not, because the leader, I say in air quotes, of Venezuela just rigged a fucking election.
Imagine that.
Well, it's not okay. But here's my point. Because of that bureaucratic decision, in April, approximately 600, as much as 650,000 people will now become technically illegal,
Damn.
purely due to a pen stroke. That is why our immigration system is completely fucked, because we gave these people permission to be here, and now we're like, nah. Now, people are going to argue and say, well, yeah, but it was always temporary. Yes, it's temporary, but it's based on the conditions of the country in question. And I'm sorry, but when you got a motherfucker that rigs democratic elections to stay in power, that ain't a safe fucking place to be.
I agree
So,
with you there. See? I'm not full asshole.
but okay, so I would, if I were president or emperor,
Emperor.
if I were emperor,
Emperor Pilaf. In Venezuela.
yeah, Maduro.
Toast. Maduro oblongata.
Thinking that my father should be
Something
sitting
wrong
in the
with this
judiciary.
Maduro oblongata.
Okay, so yes,
Emperor Jake.
if I were emperor, I would amend the TPS program to where if that designation lasted for more than 2 years, there would be a built-in path to citizenship for those that qualify that want it. Because I'm sorry, if your country's completely fucked for 2 years and you're not safe to go back, I feel like that's an automatic asylum claim.
Honestly, immigration should be difficult, except for asylees.
No, it shouldn't. Immigration should be so unbelievably easy, because if it's easy, simple, and cheap,
When I say
then
difficult, I don't mean that they should have to do several hoops. I mean it should be like 10 years. Like, and I know that sounds crazy, but like,
you
like,
mean like the process?
yeah, because
Okay, fair enough.
and
Well,
remain in your
it
country unless it's
no.
asylum seeking. Like,
Well, no,
I
because
mean,
if you're moving for economic reasons, 10 years is way too long.
well, how much do we give? Like, because I remember seeing that. Like, is there a certain amount of money, like
Jake
food stamps and
Pinochet.
whatnot? Like, how does that? How does that? Maybe you might know more on this. Like, how much would an average um I can't think right now. How much would an average immigrant get on like I can't fucking speak
You mean
the
like a government program?
food stamps and whatnot because
Virtual
like I remember some of
none.
them so then why did some of them have it? Was that
They
California only?
that would have been an in-state thing. Federally,
Okay,
they do
okay.
not. The
See,
vast
that's what I'm saying. I
majority
didn't
of
know.
Yeah, the vast majority of particularly undocumented immigrants do not. They're ineligible. And I like to remind everybody, when they were doing the COVID stimulus payments, if you were not at least a green card holder or a citizen, you did not get any money, even if you were here legally and paying taxes. You had to be a qualifying green card holder. I think if you had an H1, some kind of employment visa, you may have. I'd have to check on that. I'm not sure. Um, but even if you had a TIN number and were paying taxes into the state and federal government, you did not necessarily qualify for the COVID aid. And it's the same
S-
thing with the vast majority of aid programs. Like, yeah, if you go to an emergency room, you're going to get treatment, but that's anybody, whether you can pay or not.
So I believe you are wrong, sir. So according to the USDA government website, SNAP eligibility for non-citizens. refugees or asylees or survivors of trafficking may qualify. So
Yeah,
it says
okay.
may, to be
Well,
fair, but the thing is, they could still qualify. And to be honest with
no,
you, like it
the qualification is if they get a green card because of those reasons, in which case then they're a permanent resident.
no,
There,
this is immigration status,
I
refugees,
know,
asylees, survivors,
but
so
you have
they
to be
can get
granted,
SNAP.
those designations though. And if you get that
Yeah.
designation, you are not undocumented.
So now, what about asylum seeking?
You
Do
have, if
they?
you, no, you do not qualify until you have been granted
So you
asylum.
have that status.
You have to be given that status. Now, if you have a pending asylum claim, you are protected from deportation while your case is pending, so long as you don't have like a certain types of felony convictions.
And it says undocumented non-citizens are not eligible. So there you
Yeah.
go. I just cleared it up. I should just read further.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's how people get into trouble because like
But then
it's
why
really
even say
confusing.
refugees, asylees, or survivors of trafficking may qualify when you could just say immigrants? Like because
Well,
when
because
people,
just because you're granted that status, you may not necessarily qualify.
well, asylum seeking has it has a dirty ring to it nowadays because
It
of how they've
does.
politicized it. Because like you know, everybody assumes that people who are asylum seeking jumped the border and didn't go through the port of entry, and not all of them have. So plenty go to the ports of entry. Some of them jumped the border, but
Well, but
like I
I
mean,
guess,
it is what it is.
and here's my kind of my viewpoint on that. This is why I didn't agree with Remain in Mexico. If you are seeking asylum, chances are you're trying to escape violence. Well, you'd have to be escaping violence. That's why you would be seeking asylum. Your first priority if you're leaving a dangerous country is to get somewhere safe, right? So, step 1, get to the US. Once you're there, then you claim asylum. And then you have your case pending and all that. But your number one goal, if your asylum claim is legitimate, step 1 is get to the safe place, right? Now, the problem I have with, and again, so the word illegal gets thrown out way too much when it comes to immigration. It's actually really difficult to be here illegally. It truly is. A lot of people do it, but illegal gets thrown around with undocumented a lot. And the thing is, most undocumented, in air quotes, immigrants are people who actually lost some kind of legal status, not that they didn't have any to begin with. So, for example, like there's a lot of confusion about DACA. DACA was a status that was granted by the federal government for people who were brought here as children. They did not knowingly cross the
Wasn't DACA
border.
an executive order?
No, it's a law. It's legislation.
I could have sworn it was an
No,
executive order.
you're right. I'm
Dreamers.
sorry. I'm sorry. They've been trying to pass legislation. You're right.
Okay, because Trump was trying to force them to pass legislation, and they
He
just wanted
was.
to fucking sit on their hands.
That's true. That's true. And I gave credit to Trump at the time. So I was like, at least he's trying to fucking do something about it. But here's
Well,
my
yeah,
problem.
because he doesn't like executive, even though he uses them. Like you know,
Oh, he
from
loves
what I
executive
from,
orders. He just likes his executive orders. But here's my point when it comes to DACA. If, and this would be the fault of the legislature, mind you, not Trump. But like recently, certain parts of DACA were found to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So if that status, which has been in place since 2014, I think, maybe even before that, I can't remember, but it's been in place for at least 10 years. So some of the people who were granted it as children are now adults who have college degrees and have jobs and families. If that status were revoked, they are now technically here undocumented, air quotes, illegally. Now, I don't know
if you
about
are
you.
enrolled, if you're enrolled or you're like blah, and, you know, and that goes away, it's like that should just be granted. Like that's
But it's
just
not, and
dumb.
that's the problem. Because here's the thing.
Uh,
So, like,
I
oh,
guarantee you,
go ahead.
if it came down to that, like Trump would, I don't know, like he'd be like, okay, so he even said we're not getting rid of dreamers, like
Right,
so.
but that may be outside of his ability to do. If DACA is found to be unconstitutional and can't be upheld, then that status goes away. There's nothing Trump can do about it. Now, he can direct them not to enforce it, but that gets kind of precarious.
Exactly what Justin was talking about earlier, or about saying about JD Vance. Hold on.
Actually, so it's
Toast has worked up a couple of comments.
yeah, it's actually really hard to get asylum. you have to meet one of five criteria.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. And you have to it's hard.
it's really difficult. They're very specific, and I actually don't agree with how strict the U.S. I don't know about Canada. Canada may have a more laxed asylum policy. In the United States, it's actually really hard to
You're
get
good,
asylum.
Toast.
No, no, you're good. We love it.
He says immigration should work on vetting basis, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What
See,
skills can you
I
offer the
don't,
country
I
you're
don't.
moving to? Exactly. Because the
Well,
thing is, just because you're looking for a better life, and Eli, I hate to say it like this, dude, because like it makes me sound heartless. Because unfortunately for me, I mean, fortunately for me, I was born here.
yeah.
I can't help that. That's my parents. Blame them.
Those damn Americans. I would just like to remind everybody their immigration policy used to be show up on a boat at Ellis Island and be able to scribble something.
He says Canada, you can do a fucking cartwheel through the border and make it
Yeah, no,
in.
that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is it's like I
Dude,
said before, it's really hard to get asylum in the United States.
seriously, Toast, dude, your comment about them making their own country better, and like I'm not saying they shouldn't, but the thing is, these other leaders in charge, like let's just talk about Mexico. The president, if they wanted to make Mexico better, they would.
That's
Simple as
not
that.
that's a little cut and
Simple as
dry.
that. I
Not
mean, it
really.
should be. Like if you're the president of the fucking
Well, okay, okay,
country,
then
like
why didn't we make it better under Biden then by using your logic?
economic can't control
Okay.
economics. We can control who comes in. We can control gangs, and we can control violence, whatnot, through policing. Like I'm not, you're speaking purely economics on Biden. Like past that, like everything was just fucking horrible economically when it came to Biden. But just because Mexico doesn't, I don't know, and I'm not just talking on Mexico. I'm talking any of them. Like
I'm just
what?
saying
Why?
it's not
If they
cut and
wanted to make their
dry.
countries better, well, that's what I'm saying though. The people have to want it too.
Well, okay,
That
that's a little unfair because like Afghanistan.
I'm not saying all of them don't. I'm just
I'm
saying
just
some of them
saying.
like it that way. I mean, to be
Well,
fair,
right,
like
right, but
there's a lot of criminals around
well,
the
okay,
world.
but I'm going to use Afghanistan as an example, and because like this might be a little unfair, like
Well, they're not
Afghanistan
on our
now.
border, so I'm not really worried about them
Well, no, but there's a lot of Afghan
coming in
refugees
through.
and
Yeah,
immigrants. Well, but legit, I can't think of much more of a legitimate reason to leave than the Taliban being in fucking control. And I read an article about an Afghan woman who's in the United States. She's at a I can't remember if she was studying or she was a teacher, but she might lose her immigration status. And if she does, she'll get deported to Afghanistan and be promptly stoned to death.
that's
Now, it
wild.
hasn't happened yet, but it could
Yeah, I
because of
don't.
the ambiguities.
I try not to fly on what ifs. If it's
Well, now the
happening,
thing,
that's why that's like when COVID happened. I was like, are people dropping dead in the street? No, it's not scary. Sorry.
eh,
Like I remember when everybody was like when it first came out, my dad literally I was working. He's like, "You need to get home. There's a virus out." I was like, "Calm down."
yeah, I agree. The Afghan woman would be a genuine refugee. And the thing is, though, they could grant that with the stroke of a pen.
Yeah, and
But,
also, dude, bring turning our countries into the countries they left. That seriously, like that makes no fucking sense. When you left the country you hate, and yet you want to turn this into that. Like, make
well,
sense of that, people.
okay. So by virtue of that logic, we should no longer celebrate St. Patrick's Day ever.
I'd be okay with that. It's a stupid holiday.
Fuck. Okay. Damn it. I'll think of one.
And Christmas is to, just a is a hijack holiday. So
Damn it, you got me on that one because that's the argument I've been using when people were like, "Why are they waving Mexican flags?"
it's yeah. Dude, he said that would be like a gay guy running away from that place because at home he'll get thrown off. Exactly. Patrick isn't even Irish. Yeah, it's literally and Christmas is a pagan holiday. Like
Well,
Christians do use it as Jesus' birthday. Like that was kind of like a consensus that like they all did. Like and literally like most uh not priests, I'm sorry.
it was
Most
for sure
pastors
appropriation.
literally say that they're like, and we don't even know his actual birthday. This is just the day we use because it's the winter's it's
It's a
winter
winter
solstice is the
solstice.
21st, right? Is it?
I mean,
It
it varies
starts,
because it's the lunar cycle, but yeah, it's around there.
you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And even as a Christian myself, like I understand all these things and and literally tell people,
Hell yeah, they stole it.
dude,
Except in
you're
Ireland.
not you're not wrong.
Oh, in Ireland, they very well assimilated. It's kind of Ireland's kind of a fascinating case study of cultural assimilation.
No worries, Toast. We love off
No, you're good.
topic. Off topic.
It's the Average Intelligence podcast. But you know what's also off topic? Our other sponsor. Speaking of economic hard times, listen, this app isn't going to make you rich, but I've been using Pogo for years, and honestly, it'll get you a little extra pocket money. It'll buy you lunch one day, and it's no work. You just it's an app that runs in the background. You have to click a couple buttons every couple of days, and you'll cash out, every once in a while. But if you use our special code in the description, you get a bonus 250 points, which I think is like a no, it's not even. I think it's like 2.5 cents, but it's 2.5 cents that you didn't have before. So do that. If you use it for like 8 months, you might be able to buy an egg.
I enjoy my 2 cents, but I would love to have 2.5.
Use that promo code and you can.
You might be able to buy an egg.
You might be able to buy an egg.
It's crazy how much eggs are.
Stop buying them. Buy a chicken. It's probably cheaper.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna have chickens this summer.
I was gonna say shit. You can go to Rule King. Can't you buy a chick for like $4, $8,
Y-
something like that?
Yeah, but hormones and whatnot, they're latent with them. I'm gonna
Oh,
get mine
really?
from a farm. Yeah,
Fair.
they're factory chickens.
Dude, I saw a meme that made me laugh so hard
I'm getting
because
chickens.
it was a guy just holding a chicken in like a straw hat, and it's like y'all laughed at me.
Well, no, egg prices aren't going to reflect from day one. That's just silly. Yeah,
No,
it took a while to get here. It's going to take a while to get out of it.
no. There was another meme that made me laugh so hard, and I'm sorry. I just
Toast. Yes, dude.
political yeah. Political hypocrisy makes me laugh so hard. It was somebody with a it was a cartoon. It was somebody with a MAGA hat bitching about prices in one panel. Oh, it was eggs. It was the price of eggs. And then it cut the next panel was the exact same eggs and the same guy in the MAGA hat, but it had the years on it. And 25 was like, well, actually, the price of groceries is a complex economic equation.
I
It
would love to
was
start a
funny.
homestead.
Oh,
Toast, have you watched a guy on YouTube called Will Survives? Dude, it's so entertaining. Um, Come to Canada. We have cheap eggs. Oh, I it's just a young kid who literally he's probably like maybe 18, 19 years old. He literally did his own homestead. Dude, I watch a lot of Canadian people on YouTube. I watch what is that one guy camping with Steve
oh yeah.
uh Mav or Mav he's not Canadian.
I
He's
don't think he's Canadian. Yeah, yeah.
Minnesota.
Well, he's close enough. He's close
He's
enough,
close
yeah.
enough, eh? Yeah, and then this other one Murray or something like that. Of course I follow Mark. Self-sufficiency is the way to go. Like it
I
is. But
prefer I prefer I prefer central air.
well, dude, just because you're self-sufficient doesn't mean you can't have air
I know.
conditioning.
I know.
Like literally this one guy, he was just like, "Oh, people think I just like rough it out here." And he's like, "I have air conditioning, I have a computer, I have internet." And he's like, "No, I just was smart." And I was like, "Dude, how do you guys feel about Mr. No New Wars president wanting to start what ostensibly seems like Iraq 2.0? What do you mean?"
But are you talking about Mexico or Greenland or I'm gonna need a
Yeah.
specific on that one.
We're all over the place.
Yeah. So is Trump, to be fair. Or are you talking about Panama? He could be talking about Panama for all I know.
And to be honest, he's not threatening these countries. So,
Well, no,
like,
he did, and now it may have been a joke, but he did suggest that that military force to take Greenland was not off the table. He did say it.
later toast. What did he say and what
I think someone
like
asked
I
him.
haven't heard that.
I had to look it up. But I did see the video clip. I believe someone asked him if he would.
Occupying Gaza.
Okay, here's the thing about that. I know what Trump's doing there, or at least I'm pretty sure I know what Trump's doing, and it's actually kind of political genius. So the one of the bigger problems with the Palestinians as a I don't want to say the wrong word. One of the biggest problems with the Palestinian people, God, that sounds racist, but I don't
Fuck
mean
it,
it to
just
be.
say apologize later.
Yeah. So one of the bigger issues with the Palestinians is if they are resettled, where do they go? Because none of the surrounding Arab countries have, in fact, many of them have blatantly said we don't want them to come here. So what Trump is doing is pissing off the Arab states in the surrounding areas by saying, we're going to take control of Gaza. We're going to turn it. I think the Gaza Riviera is a great idea. I think it's really great. It's going to be very expensive, but we're going to turn it. We're going to turn it into one of the greatest tourist attractions ever. And then all the other Arab countries are like, fuck that. The last thing we want is the United States to have a literal fucking colony over here. So, nah, we'll step in and do something. He's trying to piss them off enough to get in and do part of the rebuilding.
That's what people don't realize. Like the
My
dude's
theory.
playing 40 chess. Like I hate to say it, people think he's stupid. And I'm just like, do you really think he's stupid? How the fuck do you become a billionaire? Like, even if you were given $1 million, if you were given $1 million, do you think you could turn it to a billion?
Well,
Everybody would probably say everybody's toxic. Fucking, would probably be like, yeah, I could turn it into a billion. But I'm like, could you
no,
really
you
though?
probably wouldn't.
You'd be broke if you were trying to actively, like, if you were living off $1 million for the rest of your life. Yeah, you could easily live off $1 million for the rest of your life if you're smart and whatnot. But like, yeah, he knows more than someone who is not. I'm not even like trying to like. It seems like I'm riding Trump's coattails right now. But like, I mean, if the dude didn't know what he was doing, like at all times, like he wouldn't be so successful. Like, just judging by like how people's kids are. Like, I know his kids are like seemingly robotic, but have you seen how they act and hold themselves? They all seem like, very good people. You're not going to have a piece of shit dad and a piece of shit mom who's going to have those types of children. Like, and I'm just saying that as whatnot. Look at Hunter Biden and whatnot. Like, I know people get hooked on drugs, whatnot, but like, I mean, and look at Biden. He's shady as fuck, and people still don't even like.
Well, he's
I'm just
now
like,
he's now he's senile as fuck. He used to be shady
yeah,
as fuck.
yeah,
To be fair, he's incapable of committing crimes now because he won't remember what he fucking did.
well, and on top of that, he got a 10-year blanket fucking pardon.
Yeah. I don't think it was a 10-year. I think that's a permanent pardon.
10-year. The
Uh,
last 10 years that it's all over the media.
oh, okay. I misunderstood what you meant. He got pardoned for the last 10 years.
Yeah, blanket pardon. So
Yeah.
anything he did was bad. It's like, oh yeah, if he didn't
Which
do
that
anything wrong,
that that feels
and
like,
then Fauci got one too, and I'm just like,
yeah.
come on, bro. Like,
Like, and that feels like it should be illegal. I know it's not illegal. It feels like it should be.
yeah. And I'll be honest though, like I've said this on here a couple times. If it was my kid, I'd pardon him too. Like I don't disagree. As a father, I'm with Biden on that one. I hate to say that, but don't
But
say you're
also,
not going to do something and then
but
you
al-
do it.
but also fucking smack him.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Just smack him right in the mouth. Just be like, stop it.
Who's not going to live 10 years?
Biden, I
Biden?
think.
Uh, honestly, I think he will.
He just wanted, he's like, hey, challenge accepted.
Dude, all that money he made over the last 4 years,
Yeah, he's got to
he's
live to
good.
spend it.
He's gonna come back. Biden isn't gonna live. It's like when people talk about a fourth Trump term, I saw about 85. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Like people are
Well,
just silly. They just like
again,
to
it
say
can't.
things.
Well, now, and,
Yeah.
and then even when, and which I categorize this as a gauge joke, but Trump was,
Checks and balances. Gotta love this country.
well, I forget when, but somebody asked Trump, and he's like, apparently they're trying to figure out a way to make me be able to run for another. I don't know if I would, but maybe I would. Maybe I would run for a third term. I don't know. And
He's
it's
so
like,
into himself.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They theoretically could. You would just amend the Constitution, but that's really difficult to do. Like, you would have to
Yeah,
have the second coming of Christ to get people to agree to do that. And
dude,
even then, it wouldn't work because a lot of people still wouldn't believe in Jesus if he came back and was like, hey ho.
so let's say what's harder, getting an HOA to change laws or getting the congressional laws changed. Constitutional laws, not congressional. My favorite clip is when he refused to endorse Vance. It was very funny. Who? Trump?
I mean, I think he
Oh yeah,
pretty
of
well
course, of course.
didn't
Vance was running as a enemy. Like if you're
at the
not with
time.
him, yeah, yeah. So the thing is, I will say this though, like I know it's pretty early, but just listening to Vance talk, dude, I think he made the right choice. That guy is so sharp.
He's good at navigating the media. He's pretty savvy at that. I'll give credit where credit's due.
Exactly. So I don't know any of what he's doing, whatnot, but like apparently they've been busy. So
Well,
and
yeah,
we're not gonna see everybody keeps thinking, oh, I mean they're working. It's like, are we gonna see changes? I'm like, yeah, eventually. That's the way it works. Like if you start working out, do you see results in the first workout? No, you have to continue. Yeah, they asked him if he endorsed him or Trump. Trump refused. Well, of course. He also refused to endorse Vivek. He also refused to endorse several other candidates.
and now little
It's kind of moot.
Marco. Remember little Marco? Now little Marco's the Secretary of State.
Dude, did you see Vance's kids
Yeah,
like bouncing around? Like now I was talking shit saying that Trump's kids are like very like well behaved and whatnot. And then I see Vance's kids bouncing around like on that and I was like, that gives me hope because
right.
dude, like my kids are nuts. I love them, but
Kids are kids, though.
very ADHD. Very. Sorry, not 2025, the next election. Huh?
Yeah, did Trump say he wouldn't endorse JD Vance in the next
Well, yeah,
election?
he said it's too early.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
He gave a reason why, and that's a very fair statement. Like because like why would I endorse someone who has just got the
Well,
job? I need to see how they work.
he learned from Pence.
Exactly,
Now,
because Pence
to be
Was a
fair,
piece of shit
well, Pence was right though.
on
Pence
what
did not Pence did not have the authority to supersede.
we've
Okay,
already gone over this,
I'm
man.
gonna amend. I'm gonna amend my statement.
Thank you.
If there was legitimate fuckery,
Which there
and
was.
it no, there wasn't.
Oh yes, there was. Mail-in
No,
ballots, dude. Easily.
I don't mean in the election. I mean in the actual cast ballots that were being certified.
Well, didn't the mail-in ballots count towards that?
No, I'm not talking. Okay, because I know I'm not explaining myself properly. If there had been fuckery, which actually I take that back, there was attempted fuckery, but they got
As
stopped.
Trump should have, Justin. He should refuse to acknowledge him as a successor because he hasn't seen him work yet. But anyway, go ahead.
I gotta.
Sorry, I kind of
No, no,
derailed
you
you.
gotta. It's a good point. No, you didn't derail me. I gotta explain this. So if there had been fuckery in the certification process, like somebody tried to slip in an extra ballot or replace one or something, because that process is very ceremonial nowadays. When it was originally intended, it was kind of like voting in person. Nowadays, it's very symbolic because all the votes are already tallied, the election's already called, it's borderline ceremonial. But if there was actual fuckery in the certification process standalone, then yes, he has the authority to delay the certification only to sort out said fuckery. But all the votes were as what the in terms of what the electors cast, it was legit.
Trump does not have a successor. Not
Not
like
yet.
not yet. Like that's it's too early to call that. He's not going to call anybody to do that. He says, I just don't think he does. Like from my Canadian's perspective, you guys have a blue wave coming in 2 years. No, we're
Yeah,
far
we
from a
do.
blue wave.
No,
After
no,
after
dude.
I don't
It's
know.
coming.
Like if we have a blue wave, there's no fucking reason why anyone should have voted for Trump in this election. Like that's just stupid.
Well,
Like
the reason, and I don't agree with it, but I understand why Trump is doing what he's doing because he knows he's on borrowed time because he
I
knows.
disagree completely.
Well,
There's
no,
not
no,
going to be
no.
a blue
Here's
wave.
the thing. Here's the thing. He knows he's going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah, but they're also going to see how well the economy will
Well,
hopefully do. Did you
that's
hear
what
what
he's hoping
Elon
for.
said?
What?
Elon claimed within a year where our deficit's going to be met. Now that's a big fucking tall tale.
That's I'll be
But
happy.
but if he does that, I'm not shitting you, dude. Like
No, if he
21
does
trillion, 20,
that,
$22 trillion. If they are able to do that, because literally Elon Musk, from what he explained, he explained it. Like he said that all the stuff they were finding, whatnot, and then basically cutting spending down to so much. Like he's like, we take in so much money. So therefore we're going to be able to reduce the deficit within a year's time. And I'm like,
well, they can reduce the deficit, but they're not going to pay off the national debt. They don't have enough time. That's like
22
30.
trillion.
No, it's like 37.
Oh, is it 37?
Yeah,
Damn.
it's up there. It's 30
Yeah.
something. So I mean, no, I'm sure I have full faith that in at least 1 or 2 fiscal years they can minimize the deficit. Trump's yeah, that's the thing though. Now, again, it's not so much what Trump is doing. Well, some of the things Trump is doing. It's more so the manner in which he's doing them that I think is going to be off-putting for a lot of Americans because there's a lot of people like me who are
Many
moderates.
Americans should be off-putting.
Well,
Fat asses.
no, there's a lot of moderates like me though who we voted for Trump because the prospect of another Biden administration was simply intolerable. That was a non-starter. That wasn't even worth taking a chance over. Like, but the thing is, if Trump doesn't fix the economy and does all this goofy shit, then we're no better off, potentially worse off, and he's going to lose the good faith that he had coming in. Like, don't get me wrong, Trump has a lot of good faith, but his approval ratings are already pretty low compared to what they were when he won the election.
I don't know. I just I have a hard time believing anything anymore because who's writing these approval letters? Not approval letters, approval
I mean,
numbers.
fair enough because I've gone over my
I
bitching
don't
about
fucking believe
polls.
anything. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe any of this shit anymore. This is what they've done to me. Like
Well, and
I
that is the
half
fault
of
of the
what you
previous.
see and none of what you hear.
Yeah, and that is honestly that's the fault of the previous administration.
Yeah, the optics sound bad, but honestly, like I literally stopped paying attention to politics for the most part, except for just a few things, because I still do like to be informed. But you know what's funny? My life has gotten better. I don't really care too much about certain things. Like everybody like focuses so much on it, and they're just so weary and scared. Like they ain't got nothing else better to do than sit there and scroll on their phones.
Well, Trump
Like
could do a lot to alleviate those fears, and it would be relatively
yeah,
easy.
but at the same time, like I said, it's like I'm going back to COVID. If people aren't falling in the street dying, don't worry about it. And the thing is, like, what's he gonna do that's so bad? Like, what is he gonna do that's so bad that like someone can't stop? Judges are already doing it. If they think it's bad, they're stopping his
Well,
executive orders. So
there
what's he
are
really gonna get
things
done?
there are things
Like
he
what?
can do. Well, i.e., for example, um, making 1 million or so legally people who right now have legal status as immigrants, making them not have legal status with the stroke of a pen.
Was that the
Um,
temporary
not
like
not just that.
TPS?
There's a lot of things he can do potentially. Now, to be fair, thus far the only thing he's done is not extend
That's just
TPS, but
rhetoric, Justin. That's not you got Canada's never going to become the first state.
it's not.
Like
It's not going to happen. That's not.
that's just silly rhetoric. He is literally
He's
trolling
trolling you.
everybody and everybody's falling for it. Like
He's trolling
it's
Trudeau.
apparent.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, no,
yeah.
and the thing is, the Democrats are hoping and praying that Canada becomes the 51st state.
Exactly. They're like, "Oh, more money."
Yeah. Well, no, I mean they're because they're I
I
think I
meant
already said
Trudeau.
it.
But
Yeah.
wasn't Trudeau supposed to resign? Like what's going on
He
with that?
resigned he resigned as the head of the Liberal Party. He's still prime minister.
Fucking That's hilarious. 51st state, I've seen a dumb Canadian TikToker saying Canada's going to war. It's very agitating. Yeah,
Hmm.
you guys don't want to go to war with us.
You don't.
I'm just gonna be nice and say that.
Sorry, not sorry, but
Hey, sorry. Sorry.
I know. I mean, don't sleep on Canada's military. I mean, they
Oh,
actually do have.
I'm just trolling. I'm just trolling.
South Park was not real. They have more than hockey sticks.
Dude, Canada has some of the greatest things I've ever known. And literally freaking Trailer Park Boys is one of them. Let's see what else. Oh, I love maple syrup. I'm just
They're
kidding.
not the only ones with maple syrup, but they do have the best.
I
I
know,
will
I'm
say the
joking.
best. No, I'm just
Canadian maple
saying
syrup.
is the best.
Canadian rock maple like skateboards. Best. I think it's rock maple.
Brian Adams.
Brian Adams. Oh,
Brian
Brian
Adams is
Adams.
Canadian.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Even though everybody's hating him now.
Well, that's because his wife was apparently making shit up. But
Like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm so tired of people just idolizing people. I'm like, dude, just like their work. Jesus Christ. You don't have to like their fucking person.
yeah, no. I almost said Hugh Jackman, but thinking Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's Australian, but Wolverine is Canadian.
Wolverine is actually Canadian,
The
not Hugh
character.
Jackman.
So is
Really?
Deadpool. Deadpool's Canadian. He's from Regina, Saskatchewan.
You know, why do they say that Canadians are very nice people, but they're so sarcastic, dry, like humor?
I don't really think of Canadians as having a dry sense of humor. That's more a British thing. I
No,
think Jim Carrey's Canadian.
I every time I've ever heard of Canadian humor, they always like say that it's dry humor, like as a
I don't
whole,
know.
not like I don't know. I don't know either. I'm not Canadian. I'm not a
Yeah, oh my
Canadian.
gosh, that's a really obscure reference, Justin. Yes. And it's interesting that Hugh Jackman several years later would be cast as Wolverine. In the original pilot for X-Men the animated, which it was a different animated series. For those who don't know, it's called X-Men Pride of the X-Men. And in that single episode cartoon, Wolverine is in fact Australian.
Pride of the X-Men. That sounds like America in
Well, no,
2024.
it's because in that one, it's Kitty Pride, not Jubilee, that gets introduced. That's why it's Pride of the X-Men.
I made a gay joke.
I know.
Uh, Hugh Jackman is he? I thought he was from UK. Is he Australian?
Australian. Yep.
Okay, I learned something new today.
It's because Hugh Jackman talks like this and
One
not like this.
that makes more sense. Okay,
It's actually
I
very
guess
dark and mysterious.
I don't see I don't man, it's so weird. I don't see him with any other accent other than talking as Wolverine.
Oh no, you can totally, if you watch some of his other movies, you can. I'm sorry. Every time I want to go into an Australian accent, I found a switch phrase. It's Shane Gillis's when he's talking about being bullied by the Australian goth. He's like, I'm actually very dark and mysterious.
He's like, you can't be
You
serious when
can't
you
be
have
that.
that kind of accent.
Oh no, he says, I'm actually very dark and twisted. That's what he says. He doesn't say mysterious. Yeah. But yes, Wolverine in that cartoon is Australian. He's like, if the kid gets here, she'll just get in the way.
We got we're gonna just say how great it was Wolverine being in the new Deadpool movie. That was so great.
Oh, dude, I love
I
that
loved
movie
it.
so much.
It was so
I
good.
The thing about that movie is I was lightly nervous. I was cautiously optimistic, but dude, when the title sequence started going, I knew I was gonna love this fucking movie.
Dude, when he dug up the bones and was sitting there with them, and then he fights with them. I was like, dude, this is
That's
amazing.
what I'm saying.
It's like,
When the title with the bye 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 and all that, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna love this movie so much. And I did.
yeah. I really hope Reynolds doesn't do anything to get himself canceled.
I don't Look, I'm willing to give Ryan Reynolds the benefit of the doubt. I get it, dude. You got to stand with the wife even when she fucks up. I get it.
No, you don't.
I still love you.
You can easily tell them they fucked up.
Oh no, I'm sure in private he might have told her she fucked up, but
Oh yeah. Oh, there's no way he didn't. Like if he's anything like the characters he portrays,
he's gonna be like, "Do you realize how much work I had to put into ingratiating myself to the American audience to play Deadpool, and now 15 years of work right out the window,
they're like they're gonna fucking ring you up as a Amber Heard. Stop being crazy.
and then we're gonna have a very public trial, and I don't want to shit on your bed, but I will."
Dude, that should be a short and tag that motherfucker in. No, I was kidding.
And you're gonna have to step on a bee. Well, we're rambling now. So, any other thoughts about political hypocrisy?
Motherfucker, we've been rambling for 2 hours.
I know it's what we do.
But no, no, it's just honestly, it's like I think people just want to find something to bitch about now. That's
This
like
is
I don't
true,
think that I don't think they really care about politics anymore. I think they just like bitching about Trump. Like
and
that's
there
like
there
everybody's
is
thing.
a yeah, there's a tremendous amount of fear
Take Trump out of the
mongering.
situation. Exactly. Take Trump out of the
Oh, it would be
situation
so boring.
and see if you still care.
Well, and
If Trump wasn't president and another president was doing the same things, would you care?
not to the same degree. No, not for most people.
Nope.
And to be fair, Obama does now. It's an unfair statistic because Trump's only served one full term, but Obama still does hold the record for deportations as president.
You know what? I'm gonna say something very profound. But do you want to know what Trump's greatest accomplishment was? And I don't even know, Sarah, I don't even know if it's an accomplishment because I kind of hate him for it. Dude, he made so many people political in 2016. Like
He
so many
did.
people woke up and literally started paying attention. And that's why it took us almost 10 years to get to the point to where we're just like, you know what? We see all this corruption. We're over it too. Like, what the fuck? In 2016, he woke up a giant. Like, and I'm not saying everybody needs to follow the guy. Like, he's some fucking idol, like, this and that. Like, the dude, he's just a dude. That's it. But he just the power behind him. And I say the power behind him. Just, I don't know, dude. Like, he did something that no one else could. Like, he got everybody up off their asses. Just like when they got everybody walking with Pokemon Go. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. No, what Trump did though, I mean, it was, I'm not even going to say it was brilliant because I think honestly he kind of did it by accident and then realized it was working and then really went for it. Is so
It
for
was not of
such,
his doing. It was not of his doing.
no,
I'm giving
no,
him credit for something he didn't do. But the thing
for,
is, like, he was a part of it. So
yeah, well, for such a long time, the establishment, for the most part, the Democrats were the worst offenders, but Republicans to a certain extent, certain Republicans treated the middle of the country as though they were stupid. And then Trump came along and was like, "You're not stupid."
you don't think I'm stupid? Thank you. Yeah, seriously, no, like there was a lot of like, but a lot of people also lumped those people in with the people who voted for him who actually have a little bit more intelligence. Like, just
Yeah,
saying.
not like
Like,
us.
I, I,
We were just,
I didn't vote for him in this election.
you motherfucker, seriously?
I didn't vote, period.
Oh yeah, that's right. You told me that.
I just like, I got something taken away, but I was like, I don't really care. I was like, he's gonna win, and if he doesn't, oh well,
Yeah,
my vote doesn't matter.
that we've said that even when Trump was being good Trump, is it's like he's just a man.
Justin, dude, 100% agree. People need to realize he's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
I'm just a normal, average guy. Or I can't.
I'm
There's a
just
song.
an ordinary guy. I'm an ordinary guy, except I can fly. And
That's it.
sometimes I'm invisible.
I'm just an ordinary guy. Yeah, in
All
Space
day
Ghost.
long, I'm just a righting wrongs and making all the liberals miserable.
All right, let's cut it. My
Cut
ball,
it out.
my balls back neck hurts.
All right, everyone. Thank you for enjoying this episode of the Average Intelligence Podcast. Hopefully, you're a little bit less average and a little bit more intelligent, but
Not with these two guys here
Nah,
on the mics.
not with the chimp in a suit. I'm sorry, but be sure anyway to check out our sponsors, like, share, and subscribe. Check out Visit AI legitimately if you make content. And as
Later, Justin.
always,
Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
I was going to say, and as always, fuck off.
Okay.